right amounts of the right kinds of food.
Right.
That may mean cutting down on the amount of food that you're eating and 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 being more selective in the kinds of food that you're eating. So in terms of this technology, it's not a question of eliminating technology. It's having the right kinds of technologies that are, because I think what we should be using our technology for is to find ways of producing the material necessities of life in the most natural, efficient way possible.
Right.
You know, and that means not trying to give people, get them to buy as much as possible consumer goods. What they need, what they actually need to live in this world in a nice way. So we should be using our technologies. We shouldn't be trying to eliminate technology. I think technology can be part of the solution. I think a lot of people in the tech industries, the IT industries, are actually trying to do that, but because they're working in a system that demands that they produce in such a way that they survive in the intense levels of competition that there are in the economic world today,
Hmm.
they wind up overproducing, overconsuming,
And even to be argued further, a lot of the technological developments are being run by defense budgets, and it's a lot of military gear also that actually could be argued that most of the technological advances have been because of a need from a military point of view, television, radio, telegraph, etc. So,
well, what a lot of people don't realize is that, well, like computer games, people are very much into games now. Computer game industry is now bigger than Hollywood. Everybody's involved in producing, these computer games, playing them, virtual reality systems. It's like, what many people don't realize is that the technology for those games was invented for war gaming purposes.
Yeah.
Like the militaries, they want to be able to have a way to say they have, they're going to have a tank battle. All right, you got 1,000 tanks, fighting 1,000 tanks, and they want to have. There are a couple ways you can do that. You can actually put 2,000 tanks out in the desert and run war games. Another way to do it is to do it virtually, where you have individual operators in their individual virtual tanks fighting on a virtual battlefield. And that's where the computer gaming industry comes from. It's, they used to talk about the military industrial complex. Now there's the military entertainment complex. So the companies that developed those wargaming virtual reality systems for the militaries were licensed to then spin them off as consumer games.
And they can analyze stats and data even by games that are being played online in order to predict combat outcomes and things like that.
Sure, like that. So you're right about that. But still, you get some interesting games out of it. So I guess
that's true. That is true. We can always learn from everything. And at the end of the day, obviously, again, the whole concept of the video game, I think, gives people a good reference frame in terms of what we are experiencing on this planet. I always make the comparison that there's always someone behind the keyboard and the mouse, as it were, and I think that that's true in our own case as well, if you will. Our spirit is the higher operator, and the body is just the game character, if you will, to make an analogy to that.
Yes, I think that's a very good way of looking at it. I would say, again, making use of the analogies from these films like The Matrix and Avatar, that's our situation. We're in a virtual reality situation, but just like the person who's playing a role in a computer game has a reality apart from that. Similarly, we also do that, but we've sort of forgotten it, and sometimes we need to be woken up, to that fact.
Yeah.
So that's the main message I tried to get across in my book, Human Devolution, that we're beings of pure consciousness ultimately that have devolved or been projected down into this level of reality where we function in these vehicles into which our consciousness has been projected on this level of reality. That's our system. Now, what we are really, apart from that, see, in the games are usually done. Of course, now they have some games that are cooperative games. They're not as popular as the competitive games where you try to kill your opponents, basically. Is that true or not true?
I think that would be true. I'm not too much involved in the video game arena myself these days. I think that the majority still are shoot 'em up, as they call it, third person shooter. You just sort of walk around and kill people. That's basically it.
or other sites of competitive zero-sum games.
Right.
So that's. But we have an existence apart, from that. That's my message, and we should be trying to. The main purpose of human life, as I see it, is the elevation of consciousness,
right?
Purification of consciousness. That's what I see as the main purpose.
I want you to mention your websites, and obviously, again, you mentioned that you had a kind of a booklet, I guess, with a collection of some of your articles out there, as well as a kind of a crash course, if you will, into the idea and theories surrounding forbidden archaeology. Why don't you tell our listeners how they can get a copy of those and your books, of course, as well on the web or Amazon or whatever site you have out there, Michael, to give to our listeners?
Okay, the first stop for anyone wanting to know about my work and books would be my personal website, mcremo.com, mcremo.com. So if anyone goes there, they can see what interviews I'll be giving, what my travel schedule is. There's an opportunity to purchase books. There's a museum of forbidden archaeology, so they can visit mcremo.com, mcremo.com. And if they're on Facebook, they could go to my M. Cremo Facebook page, become a friend. As far as the book, The Forbidden Archaeologist, that's coming out in November, so they're not able to get that immediately, but it will be coming out later this year in a few months, and they can look for that when it comes out. So those are some ways that people can get in touch. And of course, my books are available. They're available on hundreds of websites all over the world. So, but if they want to visit my personal website and pick them up from there, that would be nice. mcremo.com.
Excellent. And of course, you have separate websites set up for Human Devolution, simply humandevolution.com, and also check out forbiddenarchaeology.com for the monumental work, as it were, on the hidden history of the human race, Forbidden Archaeology, that is co-written by Michael together with Richard L. Thompson. So do check that out. But we will have links, obviously, up on redicecreations.com as well, so you can click through from our site easily over to Michael Cremo's stuff. But stay with us, Michael, and we'll be back after this break then with much more. Don't miss Hour 2 with Michael Cremo for more on human devolution and forbidden archaeology. We talk about human origins, signs of intelligent life millions of years ago on this planet. Is our human experience a punishment? Are we in a prison, or are we under quarantine? We talk about spiritual rehabilitation, reincarnation, and how to be released from this cycle. We tie these ideas together with the aspect of control and the conspiracy of withholding information about our origins, and how we're programmed by the evolutionary theory that we are basically biological robots. We talk about the government's role in this and the role of education. We discuss the cradle of human civilization in Sterkfontein in South Africa. We also discuss a few of Michael's favorite archaeological anomalies from around the world. Hematite spheres, billions of years old, human footprints, millions of years old. So join us for Hour 2 for much more.